For years, Jacob Landry played it cool on swamp people, never stirring the pot, never making headlines. But all of that just changed. In a move no one saw coming, Jacob is finally speaking out. And he's not holding back. He just dropped 5 names, cast members he says he can't stand, and the reasons are nothing short of explosive. Fans thought the drama stayed on the bayou, but according to Jacob, the real battles were happening off-camera. So, who made the list? And what really went down behind the scenes? You won't believe what he just revealed. Jacob Landry.
You want to come take him up today? It's just something we always done. We grew up hunting, fishing, and trapping.
If you've ever tuned in to Swamp People, even just once, chances are you've seen Jacob Landry. Calm behind the wheel, eyes scanning the water, completely dialed in. He's not loud, not flashy, and rarely speaks unless there's something worth saying. But before the world knew his name, before the cameras rolled into the bayou, Jacob was just another hunter living the swamp life in Louisiana. Born on December 27, 1983, in the quiet town of Pierre Part, Jacob grew up surrounded by cypress trees, muddy waters, and a life far removed from city noise. While other kids his age were glued to cartoons and video games, Jacob was hauling in lines, steering boats, and learning to keep his cool around creatures that would send most people running. His father, Troy Landry, known far and wide as the king of the swamp, was more than a TV figure. To Jacob, he was a mentor, a hard-working dad who passed down not just survival skills, but values. Work hard, stay humble, and always respect the swamp. That was the Landry way. By the time Jacob was a teenager, he already had the instincts of a seasoned hunter. He didn't chase fame. He didn't need to. His skills spoke louder than words ever could. So, when Swamp People hit the air in 2010, Jacob wasn't playing a part. He was just being himself, running boats, tracking gators, and staying laser-focused no matter how wild things got. He quickly earned the respect of fans, not by shouting or showing off, but by staying real. As the years rolled on, we watched him evolve, taking charge, leading hunts, and proving that he was more than just Troy's son. He was a leader in his own right. His team listened when he spoke. They followed his lead not out of fear but out of trust. In a show full of big characters and big egos, Jacob became the quiet force that kept things grounded. No drama, no fake tension, just solid work and genuine grit. And through it all, he never changed. The fame, the attention, the pressure, it never got to him. He stayed loyal to his roots, to the swamp, and to the people who matter most. But behind the scenes, that's where things get interesting. Despite his calm nature, rumors have swirled that Jacob hasn't always seen eye to eye with everyone on set. Some say there have been clashes. Others believe he's been holding back the truth for years. Now, it seems, Jacob is finally ready to speak up. And what he's saying, it's nothing like what fans expected. So, who are the people Jacob Landry doesn't trust? What really went down behind the cameras? For a man of few words, Jacob's silence may have been hiding more than we realized. Let's dig deeper and uncover the truth. The man behind the hunt.
Kind of promising there, partner.
Yeah, it's way out of line of the other ones.
Yep.
Most people who watch Swamp People know Jacob Landry as the experienced hunter, the son of Troy Landry. However, behind the scenes of Swamp People, away from the camera and the gator hunts, Jacob Landry is more than just a skilled outdoorsman. He is a husband, a father, and a man who deeply values family and peace. Jacob Landry got married in 2009. He and his wife, Lindsay, tied the knot after dating for several years. Their relationship is simple and strong, just like Jacob himself. The two of them share the same Louisiana roots and the same understanding of what it means to live a life close to nature. Their common beliefs helped strengthen their bond and also their marriage. Not long after they got married, Jacob and Lindsay welcomed their first child. Today, they have 2 sons. Their names are Ridge and Casey. Like their father and grandfather, these boys are growing up surrounded by the swamp, learning the lessons their father and grandfather learned at a young age. For Jacob, Raising his sons in the same world that raised him is more than just a survival skill. It is a way to keep the family traditions alive. You will never see Jacob talking about his family on television. He does not put his personal life out there for attention. If you look at the way he carries himself and how seriously he takes his work, you can tell he is a man with a strong foundation at home. Family is not just important to Jacob. It is everything. He learned that from his father, Troy, who always made time for his sons, no matter how busy the hunting season got. Now, Jacob is doing the same for his boys. He takes pride in teaching them the right way to do things, whether it's how to bait a line or how to pull a gator into the boat without losing their balance. He makes sure his sons are not missing out on any necessary lessons. When he is not filming or hunting, Jacob spends time with his family. He enjoys quiet moments, such as fishing with his sons or taking boat rides through the bayou. These are not just hobbies. They are memories in the making. And for a family man like Jacob, these moments are more important than anything else. People who know him off camera often say he is one of the most humble people you will ever meet. He is polite, respectful, and gentle. He does not get caught up in gossip or drama. If something bothers him, he deals with it privately. That is part of what makes it so surprising to some fans when they hear rumors about conflict or tension involving him. Upon examining his life, you see a man who appears content with what he has. He has a strong marriage, 2 healthy children, and a legacy he is proud of. He has worked hard to earn respect in both the hunting and television worlds, and throughout it all, he has remained true to himself. Jacob only cares about doing right by his family, honoring his roots, and maintaining his reputation. Even with all the eyes on him, he continues to live like the cameras are not there. That is rare these days, and that is what makes Jacob Landry stand out. However, no matter how peaceful someone's life may look from the outside, the truth is always more complex. Even the calmest man can have moments where something shifts. Pressure builds, words are said, and trust gets tested. That is where the questions begin. Fans have noticed a subtle change, but one that is noticeable enough to raise questions. A look in Jacob's eyes that was not there before. A few missing faces from past seasons. Suddenly, some fans began to ask questions, because that is what fans do. They overread every expression and tiny detail most people will not even notice, and start asking questions like, has Jacob Landry grown distant from some of the people he once called friends? Is there something happening behind the scenes that we're not being told? We all know him as a simple man who appears to be at peace with his world. How is it possible that the same man with all these positive qualities had a reason to feel hurt, betrayed, or even angry? Why would such a man, who seemed so happy and gentle, be pushed to hate? Hang on, because we'll get to that later in this video. Relationship with teammates.
Something swimming down there.
When it comes to alligator hunting with a team, trust is everything. The swamp is no place for mistakes, especially when working with dangerous reptiles like alligators. Just one small mistake is enough to make a hunter lose a limb or even their life. That is why the relationships between teammates on Swamp People matter so much. For Jacob Landry, those bonds were not just part of the job. They were personal. He built them through hard work and deep respect. Even though Jacob is not the type to talk much, his actions speak louder than words. He treats his teammates like family, and they trust him because he has earned it. From the very beginning, fans saw Jacob and his father, Troy Landry, working side by side. Their teamwork was smooth, steady, and strong. They hardly needed to speak. They both understood each other and knew exactly what to do. Troy passed his knowledge down to Jacob, and over time, Jacob went from being a student to becoming just as skilled as Troy. He never tried to take over. Instead, he showed the whole world that he could stand on his own. Then came his younger brother, Chase Landry. Watching Jacob and Chase work together was always entertaining to many fans. They had that brotherly bond, filled with jokes, teasing, and a lot of harmless sibling rivalry. Nonetheless, when it was time to get serious, they moved as one. They could argue one moment and then happily pull in a large gator together the next. For years, that brotherly energy added something special to the show, making it more interesting to watch. Another teammate who worked closely with Jacob was Holden Landry, a younger cousin of Jacob's. Holden may not have had as much experience as the others, but he learned fast under Jacob's guidance. Jacob showed patience with him, gave advice, and helped Holden grow into a solid part of the team. There was also Terrell Evans, a longtime family friend and respected hunter. Jacob and Terrell did not always team up on camera, but when they did, it was clear there was absolute trust between them. They came from the same world, and they knew the risks that came with hunting in the swamp, and they made a strong pair whenever they worked together. One of the newer names fans came to love was Cheyenne Pickle Wheat. Pickle is not just skilled, she is fearless. She entered the show in season 12 and quickly earned the respect of the Landry family. While Jacob and Pickle did not always work together, there were moments when their paths crossed. In those times, viewers could see Jacob's strong leadership skills shine as he supported her and recognized her strength as a hunter. Pickle, like Jacob, is someone who values tradition, and that shared belief is what connects them whenever their paths cross. Throughout all these partnerships, Jacob has consistently demonstrated that he is loyal and hardworking. He respects the people around him. Whether he was training someone new or working alongside an experienced hunter like Terrell, he always gave it his all, both on and off camera. He is not the kind of man to stir up conflict on camera to remain relevant, unlike some characters in certain reality TV shows. He is the type who handles things with maturity and focus. Even the crew members behind the cameras have said good things about him. Jacob always shows up on time, treats everyone with respect, and never makes things more complicated than necessary. That kind of consistency is rare, and it is part of why the show has lasted so long. So when viewers started to notice changes, it came as a surprise. Some familiar faces were no longer working with Jacob. Chase was gone for a while. Holden stopped showing up. Even Pickle was seen teaming up more with Troy. People began to wonder, was it just a regular change, or was something wrong? As rumors of an internal conflict started circulating, fans started watching Jacob more closely. He was still calm and hardworking, but something was different. Whispers started floating among fans online. Was there tension, hurt feelings, or broken trust? What made the whispers louder was the fact that Jacob had never said anything publicly about it. He never addressed it in any way, but fans who have watched from the beginning know that even the calmest waters can hide strong currents. After all the evidence of healthy relationships between Jacob and his teammates, what could have possibly been the issue between Jacob and these people? Let's examine the incidents that may have contributed to that. Unreal moments. Over its many seasons, Swamp People has drawn a few criticisms from viewers and critics. Some asked if scenes with Jacob Landry ever seemed too perfect or staged. Even Jacob himself has faced questions, not personal attacks, but doubts about the show's authenticity. One common criticism began with the clothing. In seasons 15 and 16, fans noticed Jacob and others wearing the same clothes across multiple episodes. That made it seem like several episodes were filmed in a single day. Viewers suspected the show was editing out days or even weeks and creating a false sense of continuity. There were also moments where the hunting action looked less spontaneous. In Swamp People, Jacob often jumps in to wrestle a gator right after it is spotted. But critics say that is rare in real life. Experienced hunters usually wait for the gator to surface before taking a clean shot. The dramatic close-ups and wrestling scenes sometimes felt exaggerated for the camera. On forums like Reddit, some viewers went even further. One user who claimed to be related to the Landry family said that producers staged the drama with camera angles and editing. He alleged that cast members, including Jacob, wore the same clothes for extended periods, and that confessional scenes were filmed to match dramatic moments. All this, he said, gave the impression of a scripted reality rather than an actual, raw experience. Beyond the visuals and camera tricks, Some viewers pointed out episodes where they believed the dialogue was scripted. One Reddit user compared the show to other reality television programs where people are given lines to say. Though that thread did not mention Jacob directly, it implied that many reality shows, including Swamp People, use production prompts to guide conversations and reactions. Another concern came from social media. Fans began to question how Jacob handled certain hunts. In some scenes, a quick takedown of large gators looked too smooth and too perfectly timed. Viewers thought such precision suggested cuts or retakes. The behind-the-scenes talk hinted that Jacob's real-life hunts might be more complicated and less camera-perfect than what we see on screen. Yet none of these claims accused Jacob of lying. Instead, they suggest that the show uses editing and staging to create a more exciting story that places Jacob at the center of a broader discussion about the balance between entertainment and truth. Repeated outfits, over-dramatic shots, and well-polished perfect hunts are not Jacob's fault, but as one of the show's most constant presences, he often becomes the focus of scrutiny. People ask if any form of scripting was involved, and how much of Jacob's skill is natural. Also, how much does the editing room shape it? Fans also noticed something about Jacob. At times, his face seemed tight, distant, or tired, and when camera angles changed abruptly, some viewers believed those shifts were due to reshoots. It made several fans wonder, was Jacob showing real emotion, or was he acting out a scene? However, there is no evidence that Jacob was ever the type to participate in scripted drama. He did not speak up when critics raised these points. Instead, he remained silent. The silence made people wonder if he knew more than he let on, or if he was simply respecting the production process. Another widespread criticism arose when viewers learned that wildlife officials had cited Troy Landry for tagging issues during a hunt. While this involved Troy, not Jacob, the entire production felt the impact. Critics said it raised questions about whether the show prioritized what looked good on camera over what adhered to legal guidelines. Viewers then began to wonder if Jacob's hunts ever crossed any lines, and if any edits had been made to conceal those details. What made things more suspicious to some fans was the timing of the citation by wildlife officials. They began to wonder if this was an inside job by someone close to the crew. Was this an accident, or did a rival hunter turn Troy in? Could someone from within have leaked this information to the authorities? It was all speculation. No official claims or accusations were ever made about this. No one stepped forward. Nonetheless, when a show builds its entire story on tradition and survival, even the most minor mistakes can lead to various criticisms. Jacob never addressed those concerns publicly. However, in interviews, he reiterated that he hunts the swamp the way he has always done, through experience, skill, and respect. He never called out producers or fans. He simply stuck to the message that Swamp People shows only a tiny part of their lives and culture. So, where does that leave us? Since there were no claims that Jacob told lies, people instead noticed moments that did not feel real. The same clothes, the smooth takedowns, the camera cuts that happened too quickly to seem natural. As long as the show continues to employ those techniques, viewers will continue to ask, is this real or edited? Jacob never spoke about these moments, but each time we watch, we ask the same question. How much of what we see comes from the swamp, and how much comes from the studio? The answer to that may remain a mystery. As long as no official statements are made to clear the air, we may never fully know what happens behind the scenes in the production of Swamp People. Now, let's unveil the real truth about Jacob Landry that you have been waiting for. The real truth.
Buckmasters Outdoors. We had a great day on the water this morning, shot a bunch of good alligators.
For years, Jacob Landry was one of the most familiar faces on Swamp People. He was a fan favorite due to his exceptional skills and unwavering loyalty to his teammates. Over time, fans began to notice a shift. He was not always hunting with the same people. Some names were no longer mentioned. Some faces stopped showing up next to his. It did not take long for people to start asking questions. Was there a falling out? Was something going on behind the scenes? Did Jacob have a problem with the others? Online discussions picked up. Some fans noted that he appeared more distant in certain episodes. Others said that he seemed to be doing his own thing more often. Everyone had a theory. Most of it was just guesswork. However, the changes were clear. Some of Jacob's former teammates were now off on their own. Some were building businesses. Some were less visible next to him because they teamed up with other teammates and rarely crossed paths with him. The strong group dynamic that viewers once saw had started to fade. There were no arguments on camera or public posts to confirm any rumor of a falling out, and that silence created even more talk. People wondered what Jacob was feeling and why he never addressed the situation. The real truth is that Jacob Landry has never publicly said anything negative about his teammates. No statements, interviews, or online posts. Not once has he used words like anger or hate. There is no public record of him ever speaking badly about anyone involved with the show. If anything had happened, Jacob chose not to talk about it, and we may never know what happened. His approach to work never changed. He stayed out of the spotlight when it came to drama, focusing instead on his work and family. As of today, no facts point to any personal conflict, just rumors spread by fans who over-speculate every tiny gesture and shift in routine as a sign of internal conflict or falling out. While people may continue to speculate, the truth is simple. Jacob Landry has said nothing against anyone, and no one has said anything against him. On the show, only a portion of their lives is being shown. So let's take a look at Jacob Landry's life behind the scenes and the personal business he is building. Behind the scenes. When the cameras turn off and the boats and hunting gear are back on land, Jacob Landry's day is far from over. Most fans only see him during hunting season, out on the water with a rope in his hand and a determined look on his face. There is a whole different life Jacob lives once an episode or season ends. It is a quiet life, filled with a different type of work, love for his family, and a strong connection to his hometown. One of the most important parts of Jacob's life behind the scenes is the gas station and store he runs with his wife, Lindsay. The place is called Duffy's Shell, located in Pierre Part, Louisiana. It is a small town where the Landry family has lived for many years. Jacob does not just put his name on the gas station and leave it at that, unlike most celebrities. He helps out when things need fixing. He checks in to make sure the shelves are full and the pumps are working. He interacts with customers, addresses their questions, and ensures the place runs smoothly. That is the kind of person he is. If something needs to be done, he steps in and gets it done. He and Lindsay make a good team. They do not brag or show off. They just work hard and take care of their family. When Jacob is not filming or out on the water, he is often at the store or helping out around town. He has learned how to manage a business, pay bills, and solve problems, all the things that come with running a place like Duffy's Shell. Although he is known nationwide, Jacob has never let fame go to his head. He still acts like the same person he was before the cameras showed up. He says hello to people, helps out when someone needs a hand, and teaches his sons by showing them how to live right. That is something you do not see on television, but it matters just as much. Behind the scenes, Jacob lives a very simple and happy life. He enjoys quiet mornings, spending time with his wife and boys, and doing small things that most people would overlook. He might fix a broken light at the store, clean up after a busy day, or drive his kids to school. These little things add up to a good, honest life. He has also taken time to learn new skills. He is not just a gator hunter anymore. He is a business owner, a husband, and a father who wants to build a strong future for his family. He knows that the show Swamp People may not last forever, so he is making sure they have something solid to count on. That is one reason he puts so much effort into the gas station and other small projects he works on with Lindsay. What makes Jacob special is not just what he does, but how he does it. There are thousands of gator hunters all across America, but what makes him stand out is the fact that he stays humble, shows respect to others, and does not try to be someone he is not. Even when things get hard or busy, he keeps going. He works quietly and with care, never asking for attention. People in town notice that. They respect him not just for being on television, but for being the kind of man you can trust. So, while many people know Jacob Landry as the experienced hunter from swamp people, there is much more to his story. Behind the scenes, he is a husband, a father, and a worker who never forgot where he came from. He helps run a local business, cares deeply for his family, and lives each day with honesty. His life is not about fame. It is about being there for his family when they need him. And that tells us all the type of man, father, and husband he is. What do you think of Jacob Landry's approach to fame? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and follow for more stories like this. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.